Welcome to Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Each Tuesday, I get an email from Alan Zimmerman, a motivational coach and speaker. Last week, he told a story about the phenomenon of telling plants positive words or negative words. Over and over, experiments have shown that plants who are talked to in a positive way flourish, and those who are spoken to with negativity wilt or are stunted. The power of energy, the power of words is so fascinating to me. Zimmerman cites Dr. Masaru Emoto, author of The Hidden Messages in Water, who said, beyond any doubt, what you think and say have very powerful effects on every cell in your body. Wow. I think that goes for internal messages to us and external messages to others, as well as to plants. You've heard about self fulfilling prophecies. That's due to the messages we tell ourselves. Words spoken or thought are a powerful vehicle. They can give life or take it away. Zimmerman calls negative words mind benders, such as, I can't because, or I know I shouldn't, but. He says, you will not, and you cannot rise above your own self talk. And as I have mentioned before, self talk is a powerful tool in becoming resilient or not being resilient. I learned an exercise from Cindy Gilo, a fellow classmate of mine years ago called Pats and Stomps. I've used it over and over since then. You might want to try it. On one side of a sheet of paper, trace your hand. On the other side, trace your foot. On your hand side, write the times in your memory when you have felt a wonderful pat from someone. It could be a compliment, a way that someone showed you value, gave you a chance, or recognized you in some meaningful way. On the other side is in the foot, write the times you remember being stomped on. It could be a time when you were put down, bullied, humiliated, passed over, or hurt in some way. I wonder which side of the paper was easier to complete. I wonder what long-term effects some of those pats or stomps had on you. Did they stunt your growth or fertilize your growth? Would you be a pat or a stomp on someone else's paper? Words are a powerful vehicle. They can give life or take it away. I read something the other day that caught my eye. The author wrote how we are currently worrying about what will happen to us. Perhaps the author wrote, we should focus on what we can do or be for others. The author was saying that when we flip the focus to others, our worries lessen. I'm not very good at sports, but I love using the analogy of being on the offensive or defensive, like in a basketball game. If we are on the offensive with kindness and goodness, what we pass on flourishes and blooms in another person and strangely in us at the same time. However, if we live on the defensive with fear, we and others in our world are affected with a loss of hope and energy. Kindness stands up to fear. Let me repeat that. Kindness stands up to fear. But what if someone uses words or gives a stomp to others or to us that causes harm? How do we react with kindness and goodness then? Garrison Keeler recently wrote a wonderful way to respond to someone who dinged someone with their words. He said, we could respond by saying, what you just said doesn't represent you at your best. Here's another phrase that I borrowed from some unremembered source and used a lot when I dealt with behaviors as a principal. I would say to the students in my office, I want you to behave in such a way that others will come to like you as much as I do. Today, we remember the life of Martin Luther King Jr. What a wonderful legacy that whenever anyone hears the words, I have a dream, they remember this man who lived for peace and love to prevail in the lives of all people, of all ethnic backgrounds. He was a beacon of hope for the oppressed and marginalized. When I was in Washington, D.C. some years ago, I was amazed by the quotes at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. One of my favorites is, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I just finished the book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. How thankful I am for the words of these two strong human beings who told the stories that we must bear in our hearts so deeply that our words and our lives reflect the unconditional love, hope, and belief in equality and dignity for all who have been so oppressed because of their color. Buckminster Fuller, who designed the geodesic dome, said, "On my tombstone, write the words, 'Call me Trim Tab.'" He went on to explain that there's a tiny thing on the edge of the rudder called a trim tab. It's a miniature rudder. Just moving that little trim tab builds a low pressure that pulls the rudder around so it can turn the ship effortlessly. He believed an individual can be a trim tab. Our decisions, our words can be used to change directions in life and in lives. This week, on your bathroom mirror, write, "I will be a trim tab and stand up to fear with words of kindness." Join me next Monday for Live, life inspired views for every day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.